The year is 2022. Turbos and 2 liters rule the roads, at least until the driverless electric carriage takes over. Sedans have been replaced by crossovers, while sports cars traded for body-on-frame off-roaders. The enthusiasm for vehicles has never been stronger, but it seems the enthusiasts themselves have grown fat and soft, much like the cars they now buy, while still claiming their love for manual, driver-focused relics. We created this hellscape. We're to blame. I digress. The point is, few honest-to-goodness rear-wheel drive, naturally aspirated, lightweight, manual transmission sports coupes remain in the marketplace. Sadly, we can count them on a sloth's hand. You have the Mazda Miata MX-5, Porsche 718, formerly known as the Cayman, Subaru BRZ/GR86, and the Nissan has not come out yet. 400Z would not be called light either. So the other day I was looking at the cover of Car and Driver's 10 Best and noticed something kind of odd. Two very similar silver vehicles made the list, the Subaru BRZ and Porsche 718. While rarely talked about together for obvious price disparities, the two fill a very similar role on the 10 Best list. Guys, so if we look at the similarities between the BRZ and the 718, we can see some objective things we can call out here. And we're within inches of each other when we're talking about some of these specs. And these are just straight from Car and Driver magazine from their 10 Best issue. So if we start with the engine, if I can call your attention to the BRZ, we have a 2.4 liter Boxer for horizontally opposed, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, okay? Then we go over to the 718. We're looking at a 2-liter turbo Boxer 4 in the base. And if you want to move up, you can get a 2.5-liter turbo Boxer 4. So already here, the BRZ has the Cayman beat when it comes to displacement and base form, but you're kind of comparing two different things. However, how many other cars have horizontally opposed engines, especially those starting under 30K? So first you have a kind of like an entry-level sports car and an entry-level Porsche. But here they are sharing the same movement as like a high-end watch would share a specialized movement. So already, points for the Subaru here. Transmission, we have a 6-speed manual transmission offered in both vehicles. Fantastic. I wouldn't say Subaru or Toyota is known for like the most amazing, engaging gearboxes, but Porsche definitely is. But here you have two cars still offered with manual transmissions, which is nothing to scoff at in 2022. Sticking with the ethos, we have both rear-wheel drive cars. Thank goodness. The BRZ is more of a front-engine car, but you could even maybe dare to say it's front mid-engine, where the engine isn't really sitting in front of the front axle. It's kind of just sitting on it or behind it. Might be a little bit of a stretch, not as much as something like the S2000 was, but the S2000 isn't on sale. And the 718 is mid-engine. That's been the ethos for this car forever now. But both handle extremely well, as we'll see with the skid pad numbers. But before we get to there, I want to take a look at the 0 to 60 numbers. If we look at a 5.4 0 to 60, which I'm assuming Subaru got or Car and Driver got the world's best manual race car driver. I think they might have gotten the Stig to do this test. Even still, probably with a couple feet of rollout, they achieved a 5.4 second 0 to 60. This is fantastic. This car doesn't put out a huge amount of torque, but it is lightweight, and they were able to squeeze a sub 6 second 0 to 60 time. If we move to the Cayman, we're looking at a 4.4 0 to 60 time. You're only looking at a second here, and you know what? For the price difference that we'll get into in a second, the 718 isn't twice as fast as the BRZ, but it is twice as expensive. So, points for the Cayman here, but guys, we're talking about a sub $30,000 entry-level sports car here. This is not bad. This is starting to look really, really good. 70 to 0 braking, excuse me. This is really impressive that Subaru was able to pull this off. It's very short, 152 feet, 70 to 0. And you're looking at 149 feet, so with the Cayman. So you're looking at about a 3-foot difference. Obviously the rotors on the base Cayman are probably drilled. If I'm looking here, you can see they have some drilled rotors. They'll probably last longer on track than the Subaru. This is a known issue, but if you're planning to track your Subaru BRZ or GR86, you're probably going to put some new fluid in it and some new pads. So guys, we're breathing, BRZ is breathing down the Cayman's neck here, if you ask me. Then we move on to the skid pad, okay? Handling has always been the point of these two cars, but in particular, the Subaru BRZ / GR86, this has really been the focus because it doesn't have the power to impress in other areas, so you're looking at a handling car, a momentum car. And with this new engine, with the new power, Subaru and Toyota have decided to offer the car with better tires on the Limited. I think you're looking at the Pilot Sport 4S's, which are great tires, but the width is still probably nothing close to that of the Cayman. Even still, you're looking at a 0.99 G on the skid pad and a 1.01 G for the Cayman. So 0.99, 1.01. On paper alone, the BRZ looks every bit the bargain of the two, and that's not taking into account the style and characteristic similarities. Looks are subjective, says the morbidly obese e-girl to the comment section of a self-love vlog. Even still, the BRZ / 86 twins have achieved an air of unassuming sophistication, usually reserved for nameplates that have gone through generations of refinement. General shapes and even the more minor details like air ducts, albeit on the front end of the car, are shared between the two cars. You could easily mistake their silhouettes and maybe even their front ends. And I'm pretty sure Toyota designers were aiming squarely at the Porsche, not only stylistically, but also characteristically, according to more than a few journalists who have driven the car. Matt Farah of the Smoke and Tire has noted the cornering speeds and the steering feel to be the closest of the car world to the extremely similar Cayman, even since the first generations were out, and now with the second generation as well.
It's all about being really planted with this car. Like, I really feel like even though you don't have Porsche horsepower, I feel like the cornering speeds are on the level of like a Boxster.
Japanese car shows have even tested the two within inches of each other, noting the similarities on track. While a Porsche offers a level of luxury and ride quality the BRZ will never match, it also costs twice as much. You could purchase two BRZs for the price of one base 718, and the 718 can only be had with a turbo, a negative for us purists. With the Miata remaining somewhat of a second car only option, and the base Porsche 718 being out of the realm of possibility for most, the BRZ isn't just a good option, it's really the only option. For those looking to get their rocks off the old-fashioned way, the 2022 BRZ isn't the poor man's Cayman, it's the smart man's Cayman.